today's top boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this. What was Amanda Serrano's response to not just Clarissa Shields, but my recent video about her, and what she had to say after MVP made her an offer to box on the undercard of Taylor vs. Serrano 3. Amanda said, sincerely, MVP and Alicia Baumgartner aren't looking to disrespect anyone. As a team, we are doing huge things and wish Clarissa and anyone else not part of us all the best. Making a fighter an offer isn't us disrespecting her in any way. We want to be part of the biggest and best events. I'm sad my time in the ring is almost over, but I promise I will do everything and anything to assist our girls in becoming the wealthiest in the sport. We take nothing personal. We are real professionals.
Well, why did Clarissa feel disrespected?
And because Nikisa Badarian said that if she wants to fight Alicia Baumgartner, it has to be at a weight that makes sense for Alicia.
And I think they made a play to have Clarissa box on the undercard of Taylor vs. Serrano 3 against Jade Green. I don't think she liked that either, the idea that she would be boxing on an undercard.
Her interpretation of all of this was that it's disrespectful.
So what does she expect them to do? Put her in the main event? What does she expect them to do? Grovel at her feet?
The short answer is yes. That unless you're lavishing compliments on Clarissa Shields and licking her proverbial boot, virtually anything you might have to say is disrespectful.
That's how she is. That's how her fans are.
I mentioned in passing that the divisions where Clarissa campaigns are barren divisions. There's virtually no one there. And for that, at least one of her supporters, a guy who goes by the name Risen1182, said, damn, bruh, Shields is great. You're super off when it comes to Shields.
What am I off about?
I think you know that she would beat the toughest girl in boxing. She's running from nobody.
Buddy, at those weights, there's nobody to run from, because there's nobody up there.
Girls take steroids to try and beat her, top-tier fighter. You tell what weight class, what girl she should be fighting. Who beats her?
Nobody, because there's nobody up there. There's nobody at heavyweight. There's nobody at light heavyweight.
That's the truth, and if what you're mad at is that I'm telling the truth and I'm not sugarcoating it...
It's not a lot of nice ways to say that you're in an empty division.
And that it's easier to become an undisputed champion when not one, not two, but 3 separate sanctioning bodies manufactured vacant titles for you to win against a 42-year-old fighter that had never fought for 10 rounds.
You're damn right it's easier.
It's easier to pick up a title in a barren division with nobody in it than winning a title at, say, 122 or 126, 130 or 135. You gotta go through somebody good to win titles at those weights.
We've been all through that. The point that I'm making is these people actually get offended when you tell the truth. So what would you have me do?
You want me to say it some other kind of way? That there's nobody up there? And that because she's always burning bridges, she's inhibiting her own ability to make money.
In spite of the back and forth between her and Amanda and MVP, they still extended her an olive branch.
A chance to make money, a chance to box on a very big show, one of the biggest this year.
Pride won't let her do it, and then they get mad at me for pointing it out.
Now, the guy who goes by the name Gas Fisher says these are the busters that you've empowered to talk about boxing?
And this is what I mean. When the only support you have is online support.
From people that don't spend any money, don't spend 1 red cent to see you fight.
Nothing.
You're gonna stay right there. You're gonna stay where you are until you adjust your attitude and fix it. Because guys like this,
they only pretend to get excited about Clarissa's fights.
And they only really seem to pop up when they see someone lavishing praise on some other woman boxer, some other female fighter, whether it's a Baumgartner, a Serrano, a Taylor.
The rest of the time, they don't give a shit. But let somebody start talking about how great Katie Taylor is, and one of these pseudo-Shields fans won't be far behind.
Let somebody start talking about how great Amanda Serrano is, and one of these guys are sure to pop up. But where are they when Clarissa's fighting?
Nowhere.
So if you're happy with your current situation, be happy with your current situation. Whatever.
We've had the opportunity to learn this sweet science from some incredible people that have done noteworthy, to say the least, in this business. As you say, you know, the belts and everything. But it was about bringing in, some more firepower. Of course, when you respect your opponent, then you come prepared. Of course, you have not only Derek James over there, Robert Garcia, Oscar De La Hoya, Bernard Hopkins, to name a few Hall of Famers, right?
Yeah.
So it was only right that with everything that we've done, that we continue to grow and bring in those right pieces.
So Shane's a part of the actual camp.
Absolutely. Sugar Shane, has been instrumental, in this thing that we're building. No different than, we also bring in Nate Jones.
Yeah.
Someone that, you might, a lot of people might not know, but he's
Floyd.
Yeah, he's an Olympian, but he's an Olympian as well, and lot of experience over there with Floyd.
And so the Haneys are making the necessary preparations to improve Devin's chances of victory in May when he faces former unified champion Jose Ramirez. They've enlisted the aid of multi-weight champion Sugar Shane Mosley. Now, I don't know how much or how little that improves their chances, but at minimum, it's indicative that they're taking the assignment seriously, that they're not looking past Jose Ramirez, nor should they.
Said it many times. From the moment that this fight was announced, I said that stylistically, this ain't exactly a good fight for Devin. A characteristic, pure boxer. Stick and move, stay on the outside, hit, and not get hit.
And that's not all.
Jose was telling me that they're asking for a little bit more weight, maybe closer to 47. Just what does that tell you as a trainer, being that they want a little bit more weight?
Jose signed his contract on 144, but I believe now they're asking for 147, which is fine with us. Jose's a big, tall guy. He's big. He's been 140 for so many years that I think 147 he'll be so much stronger. And I think not having to cut those last 7 pounds, I think his confidence, his body's just gonna feel so comfortable that he's going out there and swing. And I think it's gonna benefit Jose. Devin Haney's is also gonna feel comfortable because he's a big boy too. But I think in this case, I think it benefits Jose. So I'm glad.
Apparently, they've altered the contracted weight for the match from 144 to 147, so still within the welterweight limit. But what does it communicate that all of these alterations and all of these additions, that all of this is coming from the Devin Haney side of things, that you're bringing in people to help you and you're changing the contracted weight for the match? At minimum, it means that they're taking the assignment seriously. They're not looking past Jose Ramirez. They're not taking him lightly.
Shane Mosley.
Shane, in his heyday, was a very different fighter to Devin Haney. I mean, where Devin Haney is really all finesse, Shane was ferocity. Shane had power. He had artillery, whereas Devin... It's for this reason, I don't know how much or how little having Shane there is going to improve Devin's chances. I mean, how? Unless Shane is going to fight the fight for you.
It's been a year.
It's already been a year since Devin Haney lost to Ryan Garcia and had that loss overturned. But what about the damage?
You can't hit the undo button on that. If there is damage, physical damage, psychological damage.
And time being the one thing you can't get back, that from the Ryan Garcia fight to the upcoming Jose Ramirez fight, there is a year in between there, so Devin may have some ring rust to shake off. Ring rust. You hear about it all the time, and it affects fighters most.
Fighters that rely on speed and reflexes, fighters that rely on timing, fighters like Devin.
I think that ring rust affects different fighters in different ways. For fighters like Devin, well, your timing may be slightly off because you haven't had to use it in a bit.
In a while.
Devin has never taken the greatest punch, but it does appear they're trying to remedy that by altering the contracted weight for the fight from 144 up to 147. And he could benefit from that, but whatever benefit there is,
Jose benefits from that too.
if you can come in a little bit more solid and a little bit more energized at 147 as opposed to 144, the exact same thing applies to Jose. And he is a more prolific puncher within a round than you are.
So it's not one way. Whatever benefit you reap from that, so does he.
Fight's a bit tough to edge given the circumstances, and if history is any indicator of things to come, Devin is a pure boxer, and unless he changes that, unless he arrives a different fighter, different kind of fighter in May,
Could be in for a long night.
Devin's never been big on power, and I don't think that all of a sudden changes in May, so his best bet against Jose is to move, but not just move and punch.
Move too much without the punching and it starts to look like you're getting bullied around, like you're running.
Punch too much, and you'll get drawn into an exchange, which really doesn't favor Devin. as we saw in the Ryan Garcia fight. That would give Jose the opportunity to plant that left hook on you. That's what he's looking to do.
It's not a secret. That's what everybody took away from the Ryan Garcia fight.
Counter Devin's jab with a left hook because he's wide open. Now, hopefully after a year, he's tidied that up to keep that right hand in place to protect that side of his face. We'll see. He's got some drawbacks, but he's also got some strengths. I do think he's got faster hands than Jose Ramirez, and I do think he's faster on his feet.
Jose's a plotter.
Know exactly what he's looking to do. Crash the pocket and let punches go. Crowd the guy and throw combinations. Pretty straightforward.
Well, it seems easy enough, but physically, you have to be up for it. Physically, psychologically. Is Devin?
We don't know that Devin is. A year out from the beating that he took the hands of Ryan Garcia and everything that happened after that, Devin fast becoming a social pariah. How does all of this weigh on his mind?
We don't know, but we're gonna find out in a few weeks' time.
We went in there, boom, boom, boom. David really good. Hurt him with the right hand. And I was like, what the has happened? You know, he got Bivol with the straight right and he hurt him. And, you know, then like a week later, they say, hey, listen, let's do it again, you know. So David again, you know, and from then on, you know, David, they're really good. We spar again and with Meredith Robles when they had the boxing I forgot the name of the Legends. We went in there and they came. He only did 2 rounds. We drove like 4 hours to go there, and they only lasted 2 rounds. And then from there on, no more sparring, never before. So you know, it was David did really good against him, and he knows that's why he gave David the belt because he knows what's going to happen now.
Yeah, that's not how we got here. That's not why Dmitry Bivol gave up the belt.
This is why Dmitry Bivol gave up the belt.
It doesn't matter whether we were offered 20 million. Contractually, we couldn't do it, and we wouldn't have done it anyway, and we would never have tried to get out of it. So we did a deal with His Excellency to say thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to fight Artur again. Thank you, Artur. And if we win, we will give you the opportunity to run it back. It's one apiece.
David's been looking better and better and better, you know. So he knows what's going to happen.
That's Jose Benavidez' rationale, that based on a sparring session many, many years ago, that's why Dmitry Bivol gave up the belt, and not because of the contractual agreement he already had to face Artur for a 3rd time.
The trilogy.
The one everybody knew was coming should Dmitry Bivol win the rematch, the trilogy that David Benavidez himself brought up.
The one he knew was coming. The one he said he would not stand in the way of. You've already seen the video. There's no need for me to keep playing it over and over.
And we are intended to dismiss all of this based on sparring stories. You know, Zerto Ramirez had a sparring story, just like David Benavidez' sparring story, ahead of his fight with Dmitry. In the end, it didn't matter.
No, Rolly Romero had a sparring story about Ryan Garcia. But how many of you, based on that sparring story, are picking Rolly to beat Ryan next month?
How many? Rolly Romero's entire reputation, back when he was still an unbeaten fighter, when he was coming through, was built off a sparring story, a sparring session with Ryan Garcia. And for the longest time, that's all you heard about until people actually saw him fight. People actually saw him and realized, this guy sucks.
So can of sparring stories, all right?
On the predication that things happened the way that Jose Benavidez says they happened. Even if they did, that was many years ago. A lot has happened since then. Since then, Dmitry has beaten Canelo Alvarez, Zerto Ramirez, Artur Beterbiev. He's become undisputed champion since then. That's what he's done. What have you been doing?
Not knocking out Caleb Plant. Not knocking out Alexander Vazdik, not knocking out David Morrell.
We are intended to believe that you are a bigger monster and a bigger threat to Dmitry Bivol than Artur Beterbiev, who sports a higher knockout percentage over naturally bigger men
than you do.
What the hell is supposed to make David Benavidez more of a monster than Artur? By every metric you measure a monster, for being a monster, Artur exceeds David in most every category.
Surpasses him.
And we've been all through that. Team Benavidez has no choice but to resort to the same old tactics and the same old tricks, referencing the same old sparring session we've already heard about for the last 3 years.
People aren't buying it.
And if what your failsafe is to abscond from the light heavyweight division. To then move up to cruiser to face Zurdo, well, that's not saying much because Dimitri already spanked Zurdo.
That's not a step up.
You're making it seem like the Bivol people didn't want to fight you under any circumstances, when all you really had to do was wait one fight. Just one more fight. That trilogy with Artur Beterbiev that everybody knew was coming, including your son.
This shit ain't gonna work.
It's not working because for it to work, people have to believe that David Benavidez is more difficult and more dangerous than Artur. We don't have to wonder if Vazdik would have been able to go the distance with Artur like he did with David Benavidez because we know he didn't.
Because we saw Artur stop a younger, unbeaten Vazdik. Do you think Caleb Plant would have been able to go the distance with Artur? David Morrell?
Please.
Now what you can do is hurry up and move to cruiser as soon as Zurdo handles the Cuban so that you can fight him.
So that you can start pretending that beating Zurdo is better than beating the man who beat Zurdo.
Beat him easy. You better do the same.
What hasn't been said yet, because by now everybody knows that Team Benavidez is angling for a Zurdo Ramirez fight, and if you actually get it, it's not enough to just get it, and it's not enough to just win. You've got to win as good as Dimitri won, since you're supposed to be some kind of goddamn monster.
You know that I don't remember Zurdo winning a single round in that fight? Maybe he won one, just one. I remember that fight being completely one-sided. And if David is in fact a monster, the monster they're making him out to be, you better beat Zurdo like that too.
You better dominate him like that too, because you're the quote-unquote Mexican monster, the guy everybody's running from.
Aren't you?
With fighters like David Benavidez, sooner or later, reality always catches up. Without fail, sooner or later, fighters like David get exposed.
Will Zurdo Ramirez be the one that exposes him? Or will it be some other cruiserweight? Because up there, you can't play the big man on campus and hope to win through strength of arms. You don't hit that hard.
That's why Caleb heard the final bell.
David's power at 175 has not proven to be as effective or concussive as it was at 168. And at cruiserweight, against even bigger men?
It's not my imagination that he hasn't stopped anybody in a while. It's not my imagination that he hasn't knocked anybody out since debuting as a light heavy.
But he's supposed to be a monster, not a boxer, not a mover, not a jabber or a thinker, a monster.
I'll tell you what, he ain't been looking like no monster.